The dumb ox who shook heaven. The night was cold in the castle of Roccasecca. Torches flickered along stone walls as a child lay awake, staring into darkness. Thomas, son of counts and warriors, listened to the silence. While the world outside plotted power and inheritance, the boy's mind wandered elsewhere, toward questions that had no swords, no crowns, no easy answers. Who made all this? Why does anything exist at all? Even as a boy, Thomas belonged to something unseen, a choice that felt like betrayal. Years later, in the loud halls of the University of Naples, Thomas made his choice. He would not become a lord. He would not rule an abbey. He would wear the black and white habit of the Dominicans, beggars who owned nothing but truth. When word reached his family, rage followed. His brothers rode hard through the countryside, seized him like a criminal, and dragged him back to the family fortress. Doors slammed, bolts slid shut. "You will renounce this madness," they told him. Thomas said nothing. Days turned into months, months into a year. Locked away, mocked, tempted, threatened, yet Thomas stood unmoved. Alone in a stone room, he knelt and prayed, his resolve hardening like steel forged in fire. They could imprison his body, they could not touch his soul. The silent student. Released at last, Thomas entered the world of scholars. In Paris and Cologne, he studied under the great Albert the Great. In crowded lecture halls, students debated loudly, eager to display their cleverness. Thomas sat in the back. He spoke rarely. He listened deeply. Whispers followed him. "The dumb ox," they laughed. Albert silenced them with a prophecy that echoed like thunder. "This ox will one day bellow so loudly that the whole world will hear him." The battle of mind and faith. Thomas wrote as if laying stones for a cathedral, slowly, carefully, deliberately. His quill moved through the night, answering the hardest questions anyone dared ask. Does God exist? Why does evil wound the innocent? Can human reason touch the divine? Where others feared philosophy, Thomas embraced it. Where others separated faith and logic, he united them. He dared to say what few believed. Truth cannot contradict truth. Reason is not the enemy of faith, it is its ally. His greatest work, the Summa Theologiae, grew into a towering monument of thought, not written for glory, but for students, step by step, question by question. It was not a book, it was a battlefield where doubt was met with clarity. The moment that stopped the pen. Then, one morning, everything changed. At the altar, as Thomas lifted the Eucharist, heaven broke through. What he saw, what he experienced, was never fully spoken. But when he stepped away from the altar, the fire that had driven his writing went silent. He put down his pen. When friends urged him to finish his work, Thomas shook his head. "All that I have written," he said softly, "is straw compared to what I have seen." The giant of reason bowed before mystery. The quiet end and the eternal echo. Thomas died on the road in 1774, worn by study, fasting, and love of truth. No crowds followed him, no trumpet sounded, but the echo of his mind had already begun to shake centuries. Today, his words still teach, his logic still guides, his humility still humbles the proud. The dumb ox spoke at last, and his voice reached heaven.